welcome to this episode of the Keto Vegan. Hi, I'm your host, I'm Rach, and in today's episode you'll be finding out about the foods to chomp, chuck or choose. Obviously chomp means eat, chuck, avoid, and choose you can be selective on depending on the carb count, protein, fiber, etc, etc. Now, the keto diet is a high fat, low carb, moderate protein plan. It's great for health, it's great for weight loss, and you've guessed it from the name of my podcast, I do it vegan style. So let's get straight to the point, and I will start talking about the foods that we can chomp on. So what can we eat? Loads of things that are high fat. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you my keto food list. Here we go. You can see I have got everything there in alphabetical order. You can see that I've coloured things in green if they're good for you, red if they're not good, but I've only coloured the carbs red, yellow, amber and green. All the carbs are coloured. So the red carbs are a definite no. Amber is getting close to the edge. Yellow, it's just over what is perfect. Green is great. So what can we eat? Let's order this by carbs so we can see what are low carb. So select the whole lot, go to data, sort range, advanced range sorting options, column C, Z to A. No, let's do A to Z sort. So that shows us all the low carb foods we can have. Now, I'm sort of talking through what I'm doing here because you can get this from me as well as a link underneath. So you can see all the carbs. Now, obviously, if you're just listening to the podcast, you're not going to be able to see this. This is on YouTube as well. All the carbs that are green are great, going from oil, all types. So the high fat on the oils, 90 grams of fat per 100, zero carbs, but zero protein, zero fiber. But that's what you expect in this in oils. Not all oils are that good for you though. Then you can see there's loads of vegetables. Mushrooms are really good for carbs. And then there's a few Iceland products here which are protein replacements. This is Iceland No Meat Company Chick and Iceland No Meat Company No Chicken Strips. So you can see there that the fat is only 2.8. The carbs though are 0.2 per 100 grams. That is the lowest pretend vegan protein that there is anyway, at least on my list. Protein is loads on that. That's really good. And fiber is excellent as well. If you do access the spreadsheet, then you can see there's little notes in these as well. And I will give you a little run through when you get this from me. So you've got other things that are pretty good for you. Almond butter is really low in carbs and high in fat. In fact, Army Butter Crunchy Meridian, I think Meridian's the make, is green across the board. It's got 55.8 grams of fat per 100, 0.5 grams of carbs per 100, 25.4 grams of protein and 11.8 grams of fiber, all per 100 grams. That is excellent. The only other thing, there's a few things that have got greens all the way across. Almond butter, crunchy, pip and nut. Almond butter smooth, Sainsbury's. So you can see that the almond butters are a complete winner there. Chia seeds, also excellent. High fat, low carbs, high protein, really high fiber. Chia seeds, people sing their praises all the time. We've also got another Iceland no meat item, which is all greens all the way across, and that's the Ultimate Burgers. They have got 17.1 grams of fat, which is better for a keto diet, only 3.6 grams of carbs, 12.2 grams of protein and 6.6 grams of fiber, and that's all per 100 grams. So that is really good. So healthy fats are really good to eat on the keto diet, like avocados, avocado oil. MCT oil is really good. Olives and olive oil are really good. Nuts and seeds, nuts like almonds, walnuts. Walnut oil is really good. Chia seeds, as I've just said. Hemp, really good. Macadamia nuts are also really low carb. I was doing a bit of research before this podcast, looking up what are good oils and bad oils, and there's mixed sort of information out there on lots of different oils. Now, olive oil is always coming up as good, as is avocado oil, but coconut oil Some people say it's good, some people say it's bad. So do a bit of research on that. I keep hearing about MCT oil. I will confess my ignorance about that. I don't know enough about it. I've never had it, but I know people rave about it. Maybe I should put that on my to-do list to get some and see what it's like. Okay, what proteins are really good for you that you can eat freely? So nutritional yeast is really good. And let's have a look at that list again for the proteins. So I'm just going to order this list into order of proteins and see which is really good with the proteins. So high protein nutritional yeast, as I've already said, that has got 51 grams of protein per 100 grams and 22 grams of fiber per 100. That is excellent, isn't it? The carbs are 6.7. But what I've done on this list is highlight the name of the product pink, well, it's a sort of dusky pink, to show you that actually, even though the carbs might be high, the fiber is really high, and so it's very much eatable, edible. You can eat that. Hemp seeds, also highlighted pink. The fat's really good on those. Protein is 32.8, which is really good, and fiber is 2.6, carbs are 4.8. So that's, cancelling out the carb count. We have got sunflower seeds. Now, the carbs on the sunflower seeds are 14.15, but the fiber is 9.8, and this is all per 100 grams. The protein is 30.3 and the fat is 47.5. So sunflower seeds are really good for you. You're never going to have 100 grams of sunflower seeds in a sitting. So just think about the portions. When you're looking at, if you're starting out on a keto diet, when you're looking at counts, if the carbs are coming up high, but you're only going to use a tiny little bit, then it's okay. It's all about how much is adding together. Let's have another look at what else is really good. With protein, we've got the almond butters again. The peanut butter is really good, but again, watch the carbs on those and the fiber. If the fiber's high, then that might be okay. Now, you can see here, high protein, the squeaky bean Spanish chorizo style slices. I love squeaky bean. They're one of the best textures that I found. Love the products. So many products that they do are ready to eat. You don't have to cook them. A few things with squeaky beans, though, some of them are too high in carbs. But we've got these Spanish chorizo style slices at 26 grams of protein, 13 grams of fat, but 8.9 of carbs and 4.1 of fiber. So that's okay as long as you don't overdo it. Planted. Okay, that's a newish company. I don't know how long they have been around, but they are sold now in Tesco. Obviously, I'm talking the UK, and also on Ocado, which is an online shop. But Planted aren't based in this country. They're based in Europe. I would imagine they're doing international now, and they are really good. The amount of products in the Planted proteins is minimal. They are basic. I don't know how they make their food. The texture is really good. I did a coronation planted on Sunday for my friend's 60th birthday. They were doing a hog roast, and I said, what are you going to do for the vegans? And he asked me to do something. And I said, okay, I'll do coronation cluck or coronation planted. Then I got a request that it had to be gluten-free, and Planted is gluten-free as well. So, and the texture was really nice. Nobody complained about the texture. In fact, they all really liked it. Lots of the meat eaters helped themselves to it as well. Okay, so those are the things that are high in protein, which is really good. What do we do then about drinks? Black teas, black coffees, all very good. Water, perfect. I mean, you can't go wrong with water. And drink a lot of water. We are made a lot out of water. It's really good for us to keep hydrated. The only fruit juice that I think is okay is cranberry juice, and then you've got the no added sugars plant milk. So my favorite is almond milk, no added sugar almond milk, or free from sugars or whatever, and that's 0 carbs, and that's really nice. I used to love the hazelnut milk. That tasted like a milkshake, but the carbs of that are quite high, and I can't find a no added sugars one. Now, what about sweet things? I'm sure if you're starting the keto diet, then you're going to be wanting something that tastes sweet. And even if you're a sort of seasoned keto person, so what can we do for sweet things? Now, dark chocolate. Be careful with the dark chocolate though, unless you're buying proper keto dark chocolate. I can't find supermarkets that do that, but you can always look at Amazon or whatever online store you want to look at. Then do check that. It is quite expensive. The only fruit is raspberries. Double cream, the best double cream that I've found is Elmley. That's really good at low carbs. I've also made a raspberry cream pie. That's episode 23. Look at that. That's pretty low as well. Even though it looks complicated, it is pretty easy to make. The jelly, you have to obviously buy vegan keto, and that is possible. I think on the podcast there's a link to that underneath. You can make chocolate mousse. I've done that before with dark chocolate and silken tofu, lots of double cream as well, and some liquid sweetener. Look for a recipe on that. And I've made some brownies that are keto vegan. That's episode 25. Have a look at that. Back to savory stuff. What can you eat freely? Mayonnaise, vegan mayonnaise, full fat, salt and pepper, mustard, herbs and spices, oils as well. So you don't need to miss out on your condiments. Cream cheese as well. The vegan cream cheese, the Philadelphia, the Violife, the Sainsbury's Free From. Those are really good as well. And if you fancy a crunch for your cream cheese to go on, then the recipe I've got for seed crackers, that's episode 21. Have a look at that. Okay, so food to not eat. Yes, here we go. So potatoes of any kind. You cannot eat potatoes. But if you want something similar to that, I saw like somebody has done on Facebook group that I follow, roasted radishes. I'm not that keen on radish. And also, and I can't pronounce this word, celeriac. Is that how you pronounce it? Celeriac? Roasted celeriac. That also works really well. So if you do fancy something roast potato like, then use celeriac. That's really good. I only discovered it this Christmas. Crisps as well. It's sad, isn't it? But, think about all the things you can have. Sweet potatoes you can't have. Corn, sweet corn we can't. Beans and legumes like chickpeas, lentils, black beans. Peas. Now, pea protein is actually pretty good. So I don't know how that works. What else can't we eat? Bread, grains, pasta, rice. Fruit of all kind, apart from raspberries. Raspberries is the best thing. Oh, and blackberries. Blackberries are pretty low carbs. And again, if you are eating raspberries, then do it sparingly. What else can't we eat? Sneaky sugars. So peanut butter is really high in protein, but peanut butter is much worse than almond butter. Peanut butter is really high in carbs. It is really good in fiber as well, but the carb count on the peanut butter is pretty high. Protein, fat is really good with that. This isn't products. Some of them are really good. So I'm not saying don't eat any of this, and they're also gluten-free, most of their products, from what I understand. A lot of their I think this isn't chicken, is gluten-free. Do check the labels though, please. But the bacon rashers, they're high in carbs. The squeaky bean, as I said, I love squeaky bean. Their products are so good. But if you're going keto, be careful with what you choose. Do look at the labels. They're even doing like the tuna, pretend tuna, smoked salmon, pretend teriyaki duck there. They're really good. So also be aware of low-fat products. We don't want low-fat products anyway because we're keto. We want high fat. Any sweetened fizzy drinks or even elderflower juice or elderflower cordial, that's really sweet and high in carbs as well. So just be careful with your beverages. Stick to white spirits, okay? So Bacardi, white rum, gin, vodka, they are all really good keto, even though some people think they're not. Of course they are. Is when you go to liqueurs, that's when it gets high in sugar. That's why I've made my own triple sec, which was basically sweetener in there and then real oranges, which are pretty sweet, but then base of vodka, and that works pretty well. Cheeses, vegan cheeses. Let's have a look at this list again. So I am going to put it in order of name. So let's do that. So let's look at cheese. So we've got cheeses here. You see, I have got, okay. Can we tell that I miss cheese? I have got cheeses from number 12 of the rows down to, where do I go down to? Number 72. Yes. Now, you can see the ones that are greens for the carbs are the cream cheese. There we've got the soft Philadelphia soft cheese. Purezza mozzarella is really low as well. That's a really good one. Sainsbury's free from cream cheese. But look at all the others. We have got carbs galore in all these artisan, lovely tasting, wonderful cheeses. We've got an Honestly Tasty Brie here. That's only 3 grams of carbs. That's great. You can look for these things online. Honestly Tasty is a fabulous company. They've got those, but there's also La Fromagerie, which is based in London. They do a whole selection of all these different artisan cheeses. But the Cathedral City Grated, 22.4 grams of carbs. Is that the highest one? You know, they're all sort of above the 10 grams of carbs, all those reds there that you'll be able to see when you look at the keto list. So with your cheeses, be careful, do check the nutritional content. If you're buying cheeses online, sometimes they haven't listed the nutritional content. All you need to do is email the company and they will sort that out. What else do we avoid? We avoid cakes, cookies. That's an obvious one, isn't it? Condiments. What condiments can we not eat? Unless you're going a sugar-free brand, and I haven't found any, but I'm not that keen on tomato ketchup. Anyway, just look at the labels. Most salad dressings are too high. Barbecue sauce, tomato ketchup are really high in carbs as well. What drinks do we definitely avoid? Beer, cider, fruit juices. As I've said, the only fruit juice that I think is okay is the cranberry juice. Maybe cranberry and raspberry if you really want something like that, but I have found in the past it sometimes kicks me out of being in ketosis. Unfortunately, I don't know if it's unfortunate or not, but chocolate, vegan chocolate for one is incredibly expensive. Why? Why are these companies making their vegan chocolate excessively expensive compared to other chocolate? No animals are getting harmed when we are using plant-based chocolate. Now, Bourneville their dark chocolate used to be vegan. And then in the last couple of years, they've now added milk to it. Why? It's unethical. God, you're being biased against vegans. So, chocolate, avoid chocolate. Okay, so what about that choose? What can we choose to eat that might be a bit over high on the carbs, but not too much high on the carbs? Wines. With your wine, go for the dry wines. I did a bit of research, as I always do, before this, and I found a really great website, and I've put a link to that underneath about which wines you can have and which to avoid. Thankfully, I love Pinot Noir, and that's a really dry red wine, and there's various other wines that you can have as well. I'm just going to come back to that keto food list so we can see the pinks. Now, I have highlighted certain things pink. That is if the carbs are pretty high, but the fiber is high as well, so it sort of counteracts it. It says here on the little note to go with the fiber, to work out the total carbs that are bad for you, take off the fiber count. For example, sunflower seeds have 14.15 grams of carbs, but 9.8 grams of fiber. Therefore, the total carb count for the keto diet is 4.35 grams, which is good. And that's per 100 grams. As I've said, you're never going to have 100 grams of sunflower seeds. Well, at least I don't think you are. And what I've done here, the pink highlighted ones are good in carbs, even though the carb count might be high, because you've got the fiber, which are good carbs. The final carb count is acceptable on keto. Just don't overeat those items. In fact, don't overeat any items. So I'm just going to read through, for those of you that aren't looking at this, a few of my pink foods. So we have got, I don't know if you've got an Iceland close to you. We have got some Iceland no bull mushroom steaks. Iceland no meat, no bull. Oh, mushroom steaks. Oh, look, I've done that twice. Are they the same counts? No, they're different counts. I will have to double check those. That's the thing. You look at something sometimes and it says one load of nutritional value. Then you look again and it's changed. I don't know why. Leon, love burger slaw. That's pretty low. That's edible. Macadamia nuts, as I've said. Marinated sun-dried tomatoes. I'm very pleased about that. Those are the Sainsbury's ones. You can eat those as well because the fibre is so high. What else do we have? No cheeses. Flaxseed. Ground almonds are pinks as well. Macadamia nuts, as I've mentioned already. Oomph, that's OUMPH, taco spiced mince. That's another company from Europe. Their foods are lovely, and the texture of the smokehouse rib style is really good, but the carbs are pretty high on that. Peanut butter Hubbards, that's the basic cheap version, and sometimes I find that's the case. They're actually the cheap version of peanut butter that is sold because it's, I don't know why, so is often better on your carb count and health-wise than the other peanut butters. Tesco does Plant Chef. They have a few things that are pinks, which are meat-free chunks, the burgers, the Herbie Bangers as well. Sausages I find are dodgy, aren't they? Do check your carb counts on your sausages. Often they're pretty high. Plant Pioneers, which is Sainsbury's, they're chicken style pieces, they're meat-free mince, they're mince frozen, all pretty good. Planted pulled barbecue is a pink. A lot of the planted ones are actually greens all the way across because their carbs are so low. So do have a look at planted, definitely recommend them. Redefined meat. They have started coming into supermarkets, which is really good. I love their pulled beef and I love their pulled pork. Their burgers, their mince are all really good with protein and relatively low with carbs. Shroomy Kitchen. Don't know where I found those. Mushroom ribeye steaks and Shroomy Kitchen shroom dogs are good as well. The squeaky bean chorizo sausage is good. It's actually really good. It's high in fat. Carbs are only 4.3. Protein is 16. Fibre is 10. So that is amazing. It's actually doubly fibrous. So that's really good for you. And those are all per 100 grams. This isn't bacon lardons are good. This isn't beef burgers are good. This isn't beef mince is really good. And this isn't chicken pieces. They're really low in carbs. This isn't lamb kebabs is edible. I mean, everything's edible, but it's whether you want to stick to the keto, being in ketosis. If you're not watching this and you're listening, then do just contact me. Details are below for this list. Final tips then for this podcast. Stay hydrated and electrolyte balanced as well. Do some research around that. If you haven't listened to any previous podcasts, I think the one before, How to Get Started, talked about that a bit. Have as much variety in your diet as possible. You can have leafy greens, dark green veg, add as much variety. Listen to your body and adjust as needed. Don't forget, it is easy to overeat on every diet that you are on. I don't really like the word diet. I think this is just a way of living, this keto vegan way. It doesn't feel like a diet, that's for sure, because the foods are so rich and indulgent. They're lovely. Be patient. I know with Luke and Kingsley, they lost a stone in 2 weeks. That podcast was about 2 or 3 podcasts ago, and that was really encouraging for them. But you might not be as quick as that. Seek support. Go on to Facebook pages. I've got a Facebook page called The Keto Vegan. I don't post on there loads at the moment, so you won't get inundated, but there's always going to be a bit here and a bit there. So thank you for listening. Do stay tuned for future episodes. I'm going to do an episode in the near future on how to keep going with it, because I know we can become pretty disheartened. So please follow, hit the follow button, hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with people that you think might be interested.